So let's see Mallika's videos because she's tackling the same issue. Let's see last video and then we'll come back. We'll come back. Yeah.
About the same discussion, I agree with Dr. Rajesh that it is the experience of the surgeon that matters, and I have really stopped giving these anti-VEGF at all now, last many years, since we stopped using Avastin actually. And I find that there is no problem if we are already very cautious about preventing bleeding. That effort has to be there to prevent. Anyway, I will speak about how to manage the bleeding as it happens. First of all, as I said, we can prevent the bleeding by using valve cannulas, keeping the pressure high all the time. We have to be conscious about that. So before we remove an instrument, we should have the other instrument ready in the assistant's hand rather than removing the instrument and waiting for the other instrument to keep the pressure high. And as has already been discussed, come to the vascular surgery towards the end. First, finish all other work, which is non-vascular. Do as much laser as possible before you lose the view to be able to do a scatter laser. Now, in most of the cases, of course, a back flush would work to remove the bleeding. And as we, can do it, as you can see, but sometimes it doesn't work. And there I have found that I can easily remove the blood by using active reflux from the vitrector. So this is an active push of the blood, and I haven't seen a single case where I was not able to continue surgery easily by simply alternating the reflux and aspiration from the vitrector. Both of these are active suction, active reflux. So they work much faster than a passive back flush, and you can continue your surgery very easily. I've not had a problem where I had to abandon surgery in last few years. Now, this was a case longer earlier, not maybe 3-4 years back, where as I was going to do ILM peeling for a coexisting macular hole in this diabetic, I saw that there was a large bleed, and I had done a lot of membrane dissection already, and I was just going to ILM peel. So since I could not remove this blood despite my best efforts, I just left it there. I completed the scatter laser, treated whatever breaks were there, and put in silicone oil, which would allow me a good view post-operatively, and I put the patient face down. Now, ILM peel had not been done, and I went back 2 weeks later. And at that time, with oil in the eye, I was able to pull off the blood with active suction. And you see the blood collects on the disc, and you can just aspirate it with active suction. And now this blood had acted like a scaffold, like a flap, ILM flap. And you see that the hole had also closed by the second surgery. And the patient had very good vision, and the oil was removed subsequently, not now, but at the subsequent surgery. So this is one thing. You can leave the case, as Dr. Shobhit was saying, and come back later. And this is another case where I was operating a second time for a redetachment. Oil was in the eye. And as I'm removing this band, there is bleeding from the retinal attachments, not from the band itself. So once again, active suction at the most dependent part, which is the disc, removes the blood very easily, but it doesn't remove it elsewhere easily, but over the disc. And the oil is in the eye. And we had a very good outcome with this patient also. So just wanted to share my thoughts on bleeding. But more lately, I find that we can avoid this situation most of the time by being alert, preventing it, and then removing it with active reflux from the vitrector.
Excellent videos, Mallika, about, you see, one thing which I have, gained here is that anti-VEGFs may not be a boon in a lot of these patients. Yes. And second thing which I have learned is that if in, grave situation like Shobhit said, postponed by a couple of days. I haven't done it very often because somehow haven't learned that art of counseling the patient. Most of my patients will run away if I tell them during surgery I may close and then we'll do again. Somehow in practice it's very difficult to counsel, but I will try because if Shobhit can succeed, so I think a lot of us can also try.
I've never faced a problem in that If I've talked to him, he's willing to come back after 5 days for the.
Most of us then we resort to FOC. FOC means in Center for Sight we do FOC means free of cost surgery then afterward. Because you see, costing in practice becomes an issue.
Well, that issue doesn't exist with us.
Yeah.
It's on our whims and fancy. And we can actually, we never charge for that procedure. It's part of the first surgery.
You should not, you cannot. In fact, why
I
should
would
you?
just think that
Extension of that surgery. So it's an extension of the primary surgery.
Yeah.
So probably you don't charge.
But one thing I think which all of us agree is if you leave the blood to accumulate, which I think Rajesh showed in both of his videos, it will form, the time consumed in removing that blood, which is so sticky to retina, will be much more than the primary surgery. So what Dinesh said and Murli also emphasized, you see, segment and leave those tufts if required for the end, and then diathermize at the base and trim it off and leave those stumps. Yes, Malika.
I think that oil might be better in this situation because when the blood mixes with the gas, our view might be very poor post-operatively, whereas an oil will allow us to see things and also acts as probably a better hemostasis agent, possibly, than gas. So I think
Shobhit, your take on oil?
Oil I use oil where I have to, if it's indicated. But if there
for bleeding.
For bleeding, no. Yeah. I would not use it. Dinesh? I would put in gas and get back to the eye after 4 or 5 days.
First of all, 2 things about the bleeding. When you get bleeding, and if the more sticky, if it's very sticky, remember it means there's a membrane underneath. The blood is most sticky when there's an underlying membrane hasn't been fully removed. It means there's some fine membrane which you're missing. And if unless it comes off along with the membrane, the blood will keep on sticking and be very difficult. You almost have to cut it out. The second important thing is if you are forced, first of all, don't do diathermy. But if you are forced to do diathermy, then the power of the diathermy has to be kept so low that actually it should not whiten the retina. It should be such surface retina diathermy that only the bleeding stops. The retina doesn't become white. When the retina becomes white, it also becomes weak. The weaker, the more stronger your diathermy, the weaker is your.
It will tear off. Yeah.
Then it will tear off if you move from the diathermy area on the other side. If you pull from the diathermy away, it will tear. So if you diathermize, then your further manipulation should be towards that diathermy area, not away from it.
So let me bring one more question because Shobhit showed in his video coming back to Landers for dissection. Do all of you prefer wide angle? Because Rajesh showed all this dissection with wide angle non-contact system.
I don't come back to the Landers for dissection. I come back to Landers only for the moment of the tug for creating the. After that, I switch back to the wide angle.
Frankly speaking, I do my entire dissection with the Landers at the posterior pole. It's only when I go to the periphery that I use the wide angle.
At least, Dinesh, this is immaterial today because we have a lens is by Oculus, which fits on the reside and gives equally good view of the posterior pole and the periphery today.
Fine. I mean, I'm just telling you what I'm using right now.
Macula lens. Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's not a macula. It's a wide angle lens, but also if you focus it to the correct plane in the beginning of the you will see.
Side we have 3 lenses.
You can blow up and you can even do ILM peel on it.
What is the name of the lens?
We have 3 lenses. One is for macula, one is for the periphery, and one which have both macula as well as periphery.
One single lens which serves all purpose. It has.
What's the name Shobhit is telling is Oculus has made one disposable lens for ReSight. For ReSight. For ReSight. Oculus is the maker of Biome. You know that. But they also made a lens for ReSight, which is actually supposed to be disposable. But we have been able to use it for at least 10 to 15 surgeries.
The experience is very good with that.
And the trick is
very good.
The trick is when you start your surgery, you focus the iris plane at maximal magnification with this lens. And then it will not defocus all through your surgery. Once you start the surgery, you blow up again at the macula, you will the correct focus all through. Once you focused on the retina, if you've initially done this.
You see, the reason we have been trained actually with the contact lens system from the beginning for last 2-3 decades, and the precision what you get in the posterior pole focusing, you cannot. Maybe our eyes are not cannot generally have that same precision with the non-contact. In the periphery, it's a different scenario, but on the posterior pole and maybe slightly beyond the arcade. Rajesh, you use only non-contact system or?
For only non-contact, sir, but I do juggle with the contact system also, because in AIMS we started with the contact system only.
Yeah.
So just to record some videos to show that the quality of videos are better as compared to the contact ones. But the non-contact one.
Yes, Ajit.
I use the posterior pole with contact, and then when peripheral work is required, wide angle. But all along the discussion, what was coming is that we do segmentation, but certain times I do diathermy even before membrane dissection. Because over the membranes, you can clearly see the neovessels. It is the neovessels which will result in heavy bleeding, not the retinal vessels. So you diathermize those vessels even before dissection. The amount of intraoperative bleeding will be very minimal.
So coming to the last point about bimanual, because in this era of 27 gauge, what percentage generally in a tough diabetic vitrectomy you resort to bimanual? You see, Shobit is very fond of bimanual, and
I won't do that often. 10%, not more than that.
Not often.
I'm comfortable with unimanual.
Satish made a point that generally unimanual he continues till he can, and resort to bimanual later on.
I still stick to that, sir. I still stick to that, and I rarely, less than 5% of my diabetic vitrectomies where I do a bimanual procedures.
I agree. I agree.
And if there is a massive ooze from the optic nerve head, how do you approach that?
Sir, again, I've told you there are 3 types of oozes. One is a capillary ooze, one is a venous ooze, and one is an arterial ooze. If it is a capillary or a venous ooze, majority of the times you can get away by a raised IOP and leave behind a clot. But an arterial use, this is exactly what Dr. Shobit was saying. You have to leave a large clot behind, whether you want to put an oil or gas, depending on the retina. If the retina doesn't have any breaks, put a gas. If the retina is you have already created multiple breaks, you put in an oil, go back after 2 weeks and remove it. And I have also tried fibrin glue. I've also tried the fibrin glue, which is used for our pterygium surgeries for those grafts. Those fibrin glue also I tried in a couple of patients with large, massive bleeds. I was successful around about 3 or 4 out of 10 patients where I was able to control the bleed on the table.
Satish, while it is active arterial bleed, will you be able to see the bleeding point?
Sir,
the problem.
No. See, on the disc, if you have an arterial bleed, you get that pulsating.
While applying the fibrin,
you see that pulsating kind of flow from the disc. This is similarly what you see.
No. We can identify the arterial bleed. What I'm saying is, you said you will apply fibrin glue.
No. Onto the disc. As quickly as possible, try to remove as much as blood. And if you have a small time gap where you can inject a little bit of fibrin glue, I've tried even that, but I was not very successful because I've seen a couple of videos. People
That's what happens.
Fibrin glue.
Do you sometimes try the reverse of the instrument and slide pressure over there?
On the disc, sir? Well, on the disc, I don't use a pressure.
Yeah, because there were some reports somewhere that
with the back of the cutter, but I don't.
Yeah.
On the disc is not.
Better not to. Yeah, better not to resort for that.
Can I add a suggestion which I do?
Yeah.
For barring arterial bleed, no, not for arterial bleed, but for slow ooze from the disc or elsewhere, I do a very simple technique, and somehow in my hands it works. I put a drop of triamcinolone at all these points, pressure of 40, and I leave it for about 3 or 4 minutes. Then I switch back to fluid and see how things are. And many times I'm able to stop the bleed. Lot of Japanese vitreous surgeons have been doing this and advocating it. What happens maybe the particles clog the microvasculature or whatever is the cause.
No, no,
But
no, no.
I would suggest that you try.
Ajit Babu is
No, you are correct in using the triamcinolone.
I can tell you
what happens with the triamcinolone is it will coat the membrane. While you remove,
no, I'm not talking about the membrane. I am talking of post removal of the membrane, slow ooze.
I think a very important point.
Transparent membrane, which is the result cause for persistent.
Ajit Babu does not agree, but there's no harm in trying somebody else's observation.
Okay,
100%.
I have tried this also, but a big bleed, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So it's only possibly for very small ooze. But if I have a bleed, the first thing I do is I take the flute needle, the silicone tip flute needle, and I use that as my pressure point.
Yeah, correct. I was coming to that.
And that does not cause excess pressure, unlike the cutter.
Yeah.
And I raise the pressure to 40. I don't raise it to 60. I raise it to 40 and use this. And I tell the assistant to tell me by the clock 1 minute.
3.
Because otherwise you think you spent a lot of time and you find it's 15 seconds.
Yeah, Constellation somehow has 60 pressure for more time. And in fact, that may affect the optic nerve function later.
So I say 40 pressure. I raise it to 40 and I say I will keep it over there. And I say now tell me 1 minute, exactly 1 minute. So that's good.
I think one of the very important points what Dr. Shobhit and Dr. Dinesh are trying to tell us is whenever there is a bleed, when you raise the pressure, you need to wait. Because it takes 2-3 minutes for the blood to clot. So, I mean, the normal tendency of people is as soon as it starts bleeding, you'll keep on sucking it. You keep on sucking it, either using an active suction or a passive suction, it is going to bleed more. So I think the point is very well taken, where if you wait for a couple of minutes, majority of the oozes or the capillary or the venous roots tend to settle. Well,
so I think we have had a very, very nice.
One last tip: in case you have a bleed which is not stopping, let it bleed and keep on circumscribing the area around it. No cautery. With the
clot. Let it form a clot, I say.
Clot and keep on. Don't let the clot extend.
Yeah.
Keep cleaning around the clot. Let the clot form in the center only. So what happens is you have a central area where there's clot. It's not spread all over. It just spread a little bit. And then don't try to clean it over the area from where it's
clot. Never remove the clot.
So only one thing, an update. What the lens was talking about. The Oculus have 2 types of lenses: the ordinary lenses and then HD lens they were called. So these HD lenses of 126 field angle. That's what they say. You can do a macular surgery as well as a peripheral surgery. These are not
the one I'm talking about.
So these are gold lenses, otherwise commonly called as gold lenses from Oculus.
Gold?
No, it's not made up of gold, but it is colored.
And they are much cheaper. They are much cheaper than the.
I think you're talking about different lenses. Rajesh, you're talking about a HD lens which fits the biome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but what Shobhit is talking is what Oculus makes, which fits the ReSight.
It's similar to the lens you're talking about.
Yeah, but it does not have any golden. It does not have a rim at all.
It's transparent.
Yes.
But I think I definitely agree with what Dr. Lalit Verma has said. Contact lenses will definitely give us a better depth perception and resolution for the macular surgeries rather than non-contact. However much we try to do, I think contact lenses definitely have.
There's always a tug of distinction between old people and young people.
It's okay. Yeah.
Old, sir. I think contact
young people like Rajesh will prefer non-contact. Old people like me with the majority gray hairs, they prefer contact because
I think. Do you use a Vogue contact lens system, the wide angle?
Yeah, we have Vogue also and Lenders also. In any case, contact gives me better on the posterior pole.
So the only reason is the major difference is as we progress through the surgeries, maybe by around 1 hour, your assistant is totally tired. And even if you have a self-retaining, the cornea is now getting, edematous. You have to scrape the epithelium and all the other stuff, which, the blood keeps oozing in if the conjunctiva is bleeding a little bit. So that oozes into the contact system. So
the first line I had said was, I admire your patience, and all VR surgeons should have that patience. And such diabetic vitrectomy I will keep for the last case, not at the first case. Otherwise, the rest of the list will get cancelled.